everyone. So in the first session, we kind of went over some of the mechanics of doing a performance review, but now let's get down to how we'll do it. What are the steps to a performance review? So what do you guys think is the first step when you're giving an employee a performance review? Yes?
I think it's good to just make sure you are prepared. I think it's very unprofessional if somebody had a performance review but they didn't have much to talk with you about, or if it's somebody who has never really worked with you before, then it's hard to understand why they're giving you the performance review.
Yeah, absolutely. The first step would be preparation. So what happens after preparation? So we've done all of our work to ensure we know what we're going to talk about in the performance review. What now? Yeah?
Delivering the review.
Yeah, actually giving the review, doing the review. But even when the review is over, we're not quite done. There's still more work to be done to ensure that this is a continuous process. So what will happen after the performance review? Yes?
It's kind of the wrap-up phase. You're closing everything out, everything you discussed during the review.
So what happens so you say closing everything out, so what exactly does that mean?
Talking next steps
Yeah?
for getting to their goals.
Okay, so we've chosen to call that the follow-up. So even after the performance review is done, we don't just then we leave the room and we never talk about it again. Now let's talk a little bit about the specific things that goes into each of these steps. So under preparation, some of the things to think about is that we want to establish ourselves as a leader before we go into the performance review. With that also comes establishing our credibility. Like, how does the employee see us, and are we capable of giving this performance review? If we're not established as a leader, our employees might not feel like they get a fair performance review. And lastly, what you were talking about with being prepared, knowing what to say, and have some positive comments ready. We don't want to go in there. We might even though we might have a lot of areas of improvement, we still also want to look at what are some of the good things about this employee. And we talked a little bit earlier about how we want to start on a high note and we want to keep a positive tone in our performance review. So these are definitely some things to think about before we go into the performance review. That's kind of your homework before you call for the performance review. During the delivery, like I said, start on an upbeat note. I don't know how well you know all of your employees, but you mentioned too that maybe we don't know this employee too well. Maybe it's the first performance review. Maybe we haven't had a lot of one-on-one with them. So I think it's always important to start on a very upbeat note. Maybe a little bit of small talk and some positive comments first. Maybe we start out saying, Caitlin, I really appreciate that you came here today, and you're always on time. You meet your deadlines. Whatever you find really positive about this employee, but of course don't give it all away right at the beginning. But we want to make sure they feel comfortable. The next thing, we want to objectively review and explain rating. So as you know, in the performance review, we rate the employee on whichever performance measures we have for their specific position. And we want to explain that rating in an objective way. So that again comes down to separating the person from the performance.